Welcome back to Mona's Take. I am your host, Mona Rose, and I'm here to talk about everything reality TV. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything I have coming up. Today's video is going to be Big Brother live feeds from the last 24 hours. There's a chance that Joesph may be exposed as a double agent. The girls are thinking that Joesph is crushing on somebody that's not Taylor. And they're trying to figure out which one of them it is. That was interesting. And we have a plan going into today's eviction. Happy eviction day! Yes, I can't wait for tonight's episode. All right, let's get right into it. People are acting on a whole nother level on that. Can't wait to see that karma train coming through. Choo-choo. Mood of the day. Really? You gotta give us more credit than that. Some people, buckle up, buttercup. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. The first talk that we have is between Jasmine and Brittany. Jasmine wants to meet with her to see where her head's at so that she can decide which way she's going to vote. And Brittany tells her, I'm undecided. I don't know yet. I haven't talked to Terrence. I haven't talked to Indy. I don't know which way I'm going to go. Jasmine pretty much says the same thing to her. Brittany tells her that she doesn't know if Indy is in any alliances or anything about her, so she'd like to find out some information if she can, if there's anything else going on. So they end that conversation. Well, then Brittany goes to talk to Indy. She tells Indy that she's not sure which way she's going to vote. And she said that people have come up to her that Indy thinks she has that are saying that they were undecided or that they weren't voting for her. And so it's concerning. She doesn't know which way to go, who's telling the truth and who's not. And Indy said, well, I've got the girls. And Brittany shakes her head and was like, no. And Indy's like, what? Really? She's like, yeah. She's like, I had a conversation this morning. She said, I won't say with who. And she said that they told me that they were undecided on whether they were going to keep you or not, and that they were leading towards voting you out. So Indy doesn't believe her. So Brittany says, well, I tell you what, since we're supposed to be in a girls alliance, remember now, since we're all together, let's all get in a room and talk. Brittany's trying to force Jasmine's hand to show Indy that Jasmine doesn't have her the way she says she does, or Alyssa. So they all meet. It was Alyssa, Brittany, and Indy. And Alyssa tells Indy that she doesn't know which way she's going to go, that she hasn't talked to anybody in the house yet, she doesn't know what's going on, and that she's undecided. And Indy says, well, that's disappointing to me because we're supposed to be in an alliance and this is y'all's chance to protect one of us and you're not doing it. She still doesn't believe that Jasmine's undecided. So she wants Alyssa to go down and get Jasmine. And Brittany said, well, that'll look too obvious. She said, you're supposed to be having one-on-ones because you're on the blog. So you go downstairs and you bring in Jasmine. Now, they had already asked Jasmine to come up before they went up, but she's continually having meetings in the storage room. So Indy goes down to get her. Well, as soon as Indy goes down and gets her, Alyssa says she's going home. I'm not voting to keep her. I know a lot of people are not voting to keep her, and it looks like she's going home. So then Jasmine gets back up there, and Jasmine starts talking. Well, she knows she's caught because here sits Brittany. And she knows that Brittany's already had a conversation with Indy. So she says, well, I'm undecided. I don't know which way I'm going. I want to vote to keep you, of course, but I don't know which way the house is going, and I don't want to be on the wrong side of the house. And Indy keeps saying, who's the house? And Jasmine's like, I don't know. I've just got to talk to people. I've got a whole lot more people to talk to. So I haven't made up my mind yet. But when I make up my mind, I'll let you know. Now, right before she came upstairs, she had a meeting with Terrence in the storage room and told him that she was voting Indy out and that he had her vote to stay. So, she knows she's voting Indy out, but she doesn't want to tell Indy until today. She doesn't want Indy to find out until right before the vote. She's thinking about jury votes. And she's like, if I don't vote for her to stay, there's no way I'm going to get her vote in jury. So they're all talking about jury management at this point. So Indy tells her the same thing. It's disappointing. You know, this is our chance. We're supposed to be in alliance. And this is our chance to protect one of us. And I feel like you guys aren't doing that. And I wouldn't do that to you. Jasmine pulls Kyle into the storage room. And she's having all her meetings in the storage room. She's going out and getting people and bringing them in. And she's asking him where his head's at. And he's telling her, I'm voting Indy out. And he goes into telling her the reasoning for voting Indy out. And she said, oh, you don't even have to tell me. I've seen it. I've seen the way she treats you and Alyssa. I totally understand. I get it. She is abrasive. She has rubbed people the wrong way. And she starts going into all of this. Indy came in the middle of her and Kyle's conversation and said, can I speak to you upstairs? Come in the have-not room. And like I said, she just continues to have meetings while the three other girls are waiting up in the have-not room. So Indy has seen her talking to Kyle. I love the fact that Brittany is forcing the group. He said, she said. She's taking that out of the equation. It's like, all right, here's me, Jasmine, Alyssa, and Indy in a room, and y'all tell her what y'all told me. And you can tell that Jasmine is not happy with that situation. Like I said, Jasmine met with Terrence, told him that he had her vote to stay, that she was voting Indy out. Brittany asked her, during this talk with the four girls, Brittany asked her, do you have any alliances? Do you have anything other than the girls? Is there anybody else that you're working with other than the girls? Now, remember, Indy, Jasmine, and Alyssa are in an alliance supposedly an alliance with Kyle and Joesph. And Indy said, no, I don't have anything. This is all I have. So that gave Brittany the reason to vote her out. The house had their halfway party last night, halfway through the season. So the feeds were off for about 3 hours. They had cake and pizza and alcohol. And they got a camera to take pictures and all of that. While that's going on, I'm thinking, and my mind starts racing. And I'm like, okay, if the house is going to be split in half, number one, how's it going to be split? Who decides who goes where? There's been talk of like a schoolyard pick, like one person picks their team. But I think from what I'm hearing, they've scrapped that idea because they said that it wasn't fair. I'm thinking that they may go with the chips. They may pull 2 chips out and be, you're on this team, and then have them pull chips out to decide who's on their team. I think that would be the fairest way, but I don't know how they're going to do it. And then I got to thinking, if it's going to be split 2 ways, and there's going to be 2 HOHs, there's going to be 4 people on the block, there's going to be 4 people that vote, and there's going to be 1 person from each one of those teams that goes home. Okay. So does that make Taylor eligible to play in the HOH? Because if there's an equal team of 5s, it would seem unfair if she didn't get a chance to fight to stay in. Like I said, there's going to be 2 people on the block and 2 people voting. If one of those 2 people win the veto, one comes down, one of these people go up, there's still 2 people voting. Anyway, that's what my mind's going. I'm very interested in seeing the episode tonight and see where they take this. The feeds come back on and Operation Split Up is underway. Taylor's telling the girls that, they were chained, she was chained to Joesph for 48 hours and he didn't even try to cuddle with her, that she made moves and he dodged them and she doesn't think he's interested and they're just not doing that anymore. She's not interested in the fake showmance. While Joseph's telling the guys the same thing. Now all the guys except for Terrence is in the alliance, so they know what's going on. But when the feeds come back on, they go right to that. It's funny. Evidently, Jasmine saw something between Taylor and Brittany during the party that pissed her off. She is convinced now that they are not just friends, that they are working together. She's pissed off that Brittany lied to her. She said she lied to my face. She doesn't have to lie to my face. Don't tell me you don't talk game with someone when I know clearly that you do. Okay, let's go through who Jasmine has said she doesn't talk game with. That she does. Joesph, Alyssa, Terrence, Indy, Kyle. She's talked some game with Monty. My point being, pot, meat, kettle. All right, the next conversation is Michael said that Alyssa came in the bathroom and said to him, asked him a question, said, hypothetically, if you and Hayden are at a party and he's taking pictures with someone who's very attractive, would you get jealous? Michael said no. He's like, I'm not at all. He's like, I trust Hayden. It's like, you have to have trust in the person that you're with. So evidently, they had a camera to take pictures during this party. And Kyle was taking pictures with Taylor. And it pissed Alyssa off big time, to the point to where she wanted to delete the pictures and Kyle wouldn't let her. So they had a whole discussion sitting at the table in front of everybody about this camera. You really couldn't make out what they were saying, but later on, I pieced it together from the conversations that that's what happened. So she's pissed. She took an hour-long shower, and she cried the whole time she was taking a shower. She got out, she got dressed, did her hair, whatever. She's crying the whole time. She goes and lays in the bed. She's crying. And I'm like, what's going on? It's like, I didn't know at that point that the whole picture thing had taken place. So I'm like, is she crying about Kyle? Or is she crying that Indy's going home? What is she crying about? She was crying about Kyle. She's upset because of Kyle. She just stuck her head out the door and asked Jasmine, where did he go? And Jasmine said, he said he was going upstairs. She's like, I'm so tired of this shit. She's like, I haven't seen him or talked to him all day. Jasmine said, so why are you in there by yourself? And Alyssa said, I was hoping he would come there for me. Come check on me. Jasmine said, well, no, as soon as you got up and went to your room, as soon as you went to your room, he went upstairs. And Jasmine tells Alyssa, she knows what the right thing to do is to vote out Indy. Between the girls, they switch conversations like that. So this is all during the Kyle thing. Jasmine tells Alyssa she knows what the right thing to do is to vote for Indy to stay, but she doesn't. She said, let's be real. I don't want to vote out a black person. That doesn't look good on me. Just a few days ago, she was telling Joesph when he said something about Taylor won't vote out a black woman. Oh, I don't see color. I don't play the game like that. But now that's the excuse you're using because you know you are going to vote out Indy. And you know that that makes you look disloyal. So you have to have a reason now. So now it's the fact that she's not black. And she didn't have a problem voting out a black person when she's voted against Terrence twice. She has wanted Taylor out since day one. She has said she's going after Monty and tried to get the house to go after Monty. What do those three people have in common? Yeah, it's just an excuse, Jasmine. Alyssa goes from talking about Indy to crying, saying, I just wanted him to come for me. He never does. Jasmine said, you need to give him the same energy. Basically, she said, you need to give him the same energy he's giving you. If he's acting like this to you and he's being nonchalant and he doesn't want to spend time with you, then don't jump when he wants to. She's like, you have to give him the same energy he's giving you. About that time, they hear people coming down from upstairs. So she jumps up, dries her eyes, goes to the bedroom, gets her face right, and lays in the bed. And waits, and waits, and waits. Yeah, it doesn't happen. They do whatever they're going to do downstairs, and they go right back upstairs. Joesph comes in and joins the conversation. They're talking about voting Indy out. And they're thinking about who they can beat in the end. And Jasmine says, well, I think that if I go against Terrence in the end, I could win. And Alyssa said, anybody goes against Terrence in the end, they're going to win. Let's be real. And Joesph looked at Jasmine, and he said, well, if it was you and Indy, I would have a hard time deciding who to vote for. Oh, my God. Jasmine was like, what? Well, I guess thanks for being so honest. Seriously? So then Joesph starts covering his ass and talking about, her being from another country and becoming a U.S. citizen, and this is her dream, and da-da-da-da. And then he starts talking about, well, then I think I would give the vote to you because you've had the injury and you've had the boot and you're doing all of this. And Jasmine said, well, Terrence is going to get the end for doing nothing at all, and that's just not fair. Really? I don't think Jasmine's done a whole lot. Then Jasmine tells Joesph, well, the only reason that I'm keeping Terrence is because I know I can beat him. I don't know that I can beat Indy, but I know that I can beat Terrence. Didn't you just a few minutes ago say that you couldn't vote him out because he was black? So evidently Joesph said something to Indy in the bathroom about he was interested in someone, but she was unavailable. He was attracted to somebody else in the house. He's telling her this because they're trying to give reasons why him and Taylor aren't hanging out anymore. So he tells her, there's somebody else in the house that I'm interested in, but they're unavailable, and that's why I can't be attached to Taylor, because I'm not interested in her, I'm interested in someone else. Well, Indy takes this information right to Jasmine. And they literally had a 4-hour conversation on and off. Every time one of the girls would walk in the room with Jasmine, who do you think it is? I just got to figure this out. I just can't stop thinking about this. So Jasmine's mind goes right to her. It's like, I can see the wheels turning in her little head. Alyssa goes up and hangs out in the HOH room so they can't talk. Now Alyssa, Indy, and Jasmine have come up with a plan to always have someone in the HOH room so that they can't talk game. Now they think they have Joesph. They think he's a spy over there. So he comes down, Alyssa goes up. Alyssa comes down, Indy goes up. So there's always somebody in their HOH room right now so that they can't talk game. And when Alyssa leaves, Indy says, it must be Alyssa. Joesph likes. And Jasmine gets irritated. You can see it in her face. And she said, why do you think it can't be me? Not that I'm interested, of course, because I'm married. But why do you think it can't be me? She's like, you just threw me under. Like, you just threw me aside. She's like, I don't even want to talk right now. You just need to go up to the HOH room and sit with them so that they can't talk game. They can't talk about you if you're there. You need to go hang out in the HOH room. So she sends her away. So you have your 4 screens. 2 of them are the HOH room. The bottom 2 are Jasmine laying in the bed. Just not saying a word, but thinking. You can just see her mind working. Alyssa comes down. And Jasmine goes right into it. Tells her about what Joesph said. And she said that she's really upset with Indy. She doesn't think she can be the one Joesph is attracted to. She says, why does everybody count me out? And then the feed's cut. Big Brother's doing too much trying to protect. Let us see. Oh, God. Now, Alyssa's feeding into it. It cuts back onto them. And Jasmine's saying, I think it's you. And she's like, Alyssa's like, no, I think it's you. I think it's you're married. And that's why it's, he says, unavailable. But I really think it's you he's attracted to. And she says, no, I think it's you because you're with Kyle, so you're unavailable. And they go back and forth. And I'm like, for a woman who's been married just over a year, she's really obsessed with finding out because she wants to know if it's her. She thinks it's her. And you can tell by the way she acts when Joesph walks in the room. If Joseph's not in the room, she's all laid back and just nonchalant. Joesph walks in the room, she's like... the whole time. It's like, girl, I hope your husband ain't watching these feeds. She tells Alyssa she just can't let it go. It's wrecking her brain. She can't let it go. She can't stop thinking about it. Indy comes back down, and Indy and Alyssa and Jasmine are talking. And they said that when they were talking earlier with Joesph, that Brittany was asleep in her bed. And that they were talking, Joesph left to go upstairs. The girls went in the bubble room. And as soon as they went in the bubble room, Jasmine forgot something and went back to get it. And Brittany was out of bed and upstairs. So she's like, she wasn't asleep. She was listening to us. She's got something with Taylor. As soon as we left the room, she ran upstairs to Taylor. She tell her what her conversation was about. And then they start trying to remember what their conversation was about. If they said anything incriminating. Jasmine goes right back and says to Alyssa, I think it's you. I think Joesph was talking about you. And Alyssa asked Indy, do you think it's Jasmine? And Jasmine says, no, she straight up told me she didn't think it was me. I'm not his type. And like I said, this went on for 4 hours last night. And I'm sure that knowing Jasmine, it'll come out today. It's like, girl, please. Have some dignity. The leftovers finally get to me. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. The other side gives up and goes to bed. So the leftovers finally get to me. Joseph's plan is to tell the girls that Kyle exposed the 5 swatters and that he flipped the house and that everybody's voting Indy out. And Michael said, why does it have to be Kyle that exposed it? You know, his game's already screwed up. And Brittany said, well, I know what we can do. I can tell him that you, talking to Joesph, I can tell him that you and I talked, and I told you about the girls, and you told me about the 5 swatters, and that we realized they were playing us both, and we're voting Indy out. I'm like, oh, go Brittany. And Michael's like, yeah, I think that would be the best move because then everybody has a reason to vote her out. I was like, oh, they're fixing to force Joesph to stop playing the middle. And he says, the only problem with that is I won't get any information from them next week. And Michael said, you're not getting any information now, you're getting orders. They're telling you what to do. They're telling you to come up here and spy on us. And they're telling you to talk to Brittany. And they're telling you to talk to Monty. They're giving you orders. They're not giving you information. And now this is in front of the whole group. So I think people are starting to realize that it's time that Joesph as a double agent is through. He's got to pick a side. So then they talk about how that's going to happen. And Brittany said, we go to them together. And we tell them that we talked and that we compared notes. And that he knows about the girls. And that I know about the 5 swatters. So Brittany's not going to give him a chance to go talk to them alone. Of course, he will probably, since he knows this is coming, knowing Joesph, he's going to make a beeline to those girls and talk to them before Brittany gets to them. Because they already think Brittany's a liar. They're not going to believe Brittany over Joesph in any way. There is never a world where they believe Brittany over Joesph. So we'll see how that plays out today. Jasmine is complaining that she woke up at 4:30 in the morning to go to the bathroom. This is what she told one person. Another person, she said she had a bad dream. Anyway, she got up at 4:30 in the morning and realized that all 7 of the leftovers were upstairs in the HOH room. And like Monty said, even if the girls think that Joesph is on their side and that he's just playing the other side, that's still 6 people that they've caught in that HOH room multiple times a day for the last 7 days. Daniel told them about the alliance before he left. Nicole told them about the alliance before she left. They've got to know that something is there. They cannot be that blind. And I'm talking about Indy, Jasmine, Alyssa, Terrence. They cannot be that blind. Now, Terrence is a little bit different story because he goes to bed early, he shuts his door, and he don't get up. So he doesn't know any of the shenanigans that are going on at night. But Jasmine's telling Indy this, Jasmine's telling Alyssa this. It's like, you guys can't put 2 and 2 together? And I think that it's time that they quit acting. Everybody, like they said last night in the leftovers, everybody in the leftovers has done something to make the other side mad. Turner voted out Amira. Monty with the Nicole. Kyle not using the veto. Taylor putting up Indy. Brittany, they just don't like Brittany. Michael, they kind of trust. And Joesph, they trust. You have to look and see who you're not working with. And the leftovers are like, all of these people have done something that has jeopardized their game or jeopardized their jury vote, except for Joesph. Joseph's been playing the middle the whole time. So I think that as an alliance together, as a team, they think that it's time that come to an end. So we'll see how today works. It's going to be interesting to see how they split up the house. I will be taking notes tonight on tonight's episode. And then I'll see how it plays out if there is an HOH. Because I don't think the double eviction is today. I think the double eviction is going to be next Thursday. So I think it's going to play out throughout the week. But maybe we'll see tonight how they split the house. Oh, I just thought about something. Somebody said that they think that half of the people are going to be living in the house and half of the people are going to be living in the backyard. That they're like building bedrooms or whatever. I wonder if they're going to have live feeds in the backyard. I just thought about that. How are they going to do that? I don't know. We'll find out tonight. Remember to comment below. Let me know what you think. And until next time, as always, much love.